feel like it's been a long time since we played.
So our last live that started, those that watched that previously, it like immediately like all of us just like, or it like drained. It had like a drain effect. It was really crazy.
Which one?
The last live we did, like as soon as it started, the video. So.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Meaning like it had a connection issue.
Oh.
We could hear us, but like our picture just
We more.
Oh.
it was crazy. But it's all good. If that happens, it happens. It's the joy of doing live. But if I
do use all of
don't,
these.
then editing is terrible. It's fun though. Oh good. Audio's good. Yeah, it's good to check that. Just in case we're talking for like 10 minutes like one time. It's 2 episodes ago. Anyway, welcome to the live stream of Natural One's playthrough of a homebrew campaign. Those of you who are joining us for the first time tonight, good on you just for joining randomly episode 13. Most of you know what's going on, but those that don't, we had a bit of a problem in a desert tomb of a snake god, essentially, the first cult leader of essentially the Yuan-Ti was our target on accident. We went inside this place searching for feathers to complete a ritual of angels that were frozen.
We got those.
And we did. We got them. We got everything we needed. Minus certain things. We didn't get the demon blood, but it's probably good that we didn't because it probably would have ended in more people dying. We have 2 people who are currently in a bad way. One in particular is actually dead. Castle. So you're watching this, you probably know who he is. He is dead, and so we just put him in the bag of holding.
He got
unceremoniously, but we had to. We had to hurry. He's in there.
He got bit by a mummy, right?
Yes, and also crit him essentially and put him down to nothing and rolled top numbers. It just didn't work out.
Bad luck.
And Cry was stabbed and infected by the same thing. So his twin brother,
Was it mummy rot?
it's called mummy rot, and it's not a nice thing. Anyway, so now we're going to get started, and if you have any questions and things like that, I will not be answering them until afterwards, because I do like to keep the roleplay alive, and in the past we used to do that, but we get so many comments now. I'd love to read them, but we just can't. To keep the roleplay, we can't do that. I will glance down and read your comments, by the way, so feel free to comment anyway. Business packets, rogue lawyer, man. That's all we're gonna find. Okay, yeah, alright. I will be reading your stuff, so if it comes up, I will mention it, but I'm gonna do my very best to keep it in to the roleplay. Anyway, Dan, nice to have you back. Everyone else who's joining on, I see you all hopping on right now. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Last thing that happened. What are your thoughts? You go tumbling into a portal.
That's right. We went into the portal.
That was it.
We changed our destination. Our other destination was like a coast, and then you took out the staff to see if it would go to the same place, and it didn't.
Right.
You had to roll for it.
But we don't know
Concentration,
where we are
essentially.
yet. We didn't see that. We just jumped in. And
No.
went.
As you're flying through this portal,
I think it's
almost
important
instant.
to mention also that what's her name, Alana, wasn't really Alana. She was the demon that was hunting him and Odia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very
And
good
she,
point.
Well, revealed himself and then left. And
Yeah.
then that's why we went to the portal and not out the other way.
Because we were going to go searching, doing the rest of the dungeon, but it felt safer to jump into a portal to nowhere than to wander a dungeon full of who knows what, plus demon that's been waiting for us to be weak. Alright, but now we are through a portal, and the first thing of your senses that comes alive is the feeling of the mossy ground as you touch it. It's damp. You've been in desert, like harsh Sahara-like desert. It's not been good. You now have no food or water that's clean because of the tomb itself actually desiccated your food, made it rot. The water turned to like a vinegar substance. It's been all out. Unfortunate. Yeah, everything that has happened has been really bad.
Is anything else like damage from it?
Go through your things. If you'd like, do inspection. Investigation. What do I call inspection? It's just what it is.
I'm tired.
You would be. It's been all night.
5.
You guys fought most of the night and didn't rest, except for like a short rest.
We did like
which
a
was an
half
hour.
rest, which was enough for me.
It was enough to make you.
Do I notice what she's looking at and give it a second look?
I would do perception first on her to check if you see. You just came out of a
12.
portal. It is a little disorienting, but you seem to have a handle on it. You do see her going through her things, like dumping out all the crumbs and just the rotten smell of the food. It's almost worse than anything else. You do notice around you, all of you at the same time, you are in what looks like a swamp. It's not like a really dense swamp, but it's very, very wet lands all around you with really tall trees. It's not like a jungle, but
Is it like a bayou?
similar to a bayou.
Okay. So I imagine like that creepy moss
Yes.
hanging. Okay.
Yes. The ones that you're not sure if it's a snake, that type of place.
Okay.
You don't recognize it.
What time of the day is it?
It is, I would say it's close to morning as, you can't quite tell whether it's twilight or dawn, but judging on where the location is, you know where the moss is growing, you can see kind of how it works. You can guess that it's dawn, which means it was almost instantaneous that you traveled. It wasn't like when you traveled through the astral plane, it was like 6 months.
Right.
This
right.
was instant.
Okay.
For what you know, it could be 12 years.
Yeah.
Dawn. I mean,
Right.
but that's what you
right.
know.
Yeah. Are there any like
they're
structures or anything around?
They're actually right near you. It looks like there's a making of a road. Doesn't look highly traveled, but it definitely has some semblance of like laid stone,
Okay.
naturally overgrown with moss. But
Okay.
it does look it has been used, not like a highway would be used, but a definite path.
Used by people?
I would have to say you'd have to look.
I'm gonna look. What would this be, survival? Since I'm checking for tracks.
Yeah. We don't use that too often.
7.
7. Based off your, based off of everything that you see, nothing that's too definite of a track for you to find in the moment. Maybe perhaps the portal as you came out, it's just been a little bit, it keeps you a little hazy. I imagine it makes you a little parched. It's like unnerving, car sick feeling.
Like a hangover.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so it's just us, the two of us, and then Odeon.
And Odeon, that's
Okay,
correct.
so
Everyone else is gone.
We need to find a place to bury Castle and deal with Cry.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
'Cause we have
Cry
Cry.
is with you.
That's
yes.
right, we
He
have
is
Cry with us.
moaning in pain.
Okay.
He just has skin lesions. His body is decaying
Okay.
in front of you. He's not quite dead. But
That's in
mummy
my-
rot. If you do not find something to reverse it, stop it. Some kind of
Do
powerful mage or healer,
okay.
because normal potions don't work. You tried to do that already. You tried to do a healing. You
So-
tried, not,
I
not
tried to
potion.
heal.
but-
Yeah. I tried to cast a spell on him.
That's unfortunate.
Don't know what to do. Maybe maybe look around and see if there's like some kind of like plant, like herb or something that maybe can like help his pain.
Do a
at
nature
least.
check. Yeah, absolutely.
17 plus 2.
You find after rooting around for about 15 minutes, underneath, kind of where the moss hits the earth and a tree. There's this little cave-like area. You reach underneath where you know, being in the forest as you are, there's a small. It's like a mushroom, but it's a little bit lighter. It's got a different texture to it than a mushroom, but it's called like a divine root.
Okay.
You're able to smash that up, and it takes some time. You might be able to create like a salve that might be able to lessen the pain
Okay.
until you're able to find somebody.
And I probably shouldn't touch him, huh? Like his arm, like.
You're not sure at this point if it's transferable, but
Okay, so
judging that
I-
he was bit by something, it seems to be a disease that's communicable, like touched
Okay,
through
so
something.
I'm
That is a good
making
point.
it. I haven't.
Who's like helping him? you guys do have like leather gloves and things. You're not like bare skinned,
Yeah.
but
I imagine I would be helping him.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was.
That's
me
probably
and
what you were
Odeon
doing
who
at the
got-
time she was searching.
Because
Okay.
we got Odeon, because Odeon and I put Castle in the bag, and then we just jumped through.
I imagine that he put like some kind of cape over him or something, so it wasn't so like
Yeah, because we didn't think about that.
just
Well,
tossed
Throw 'em
him.
in the
Yes.
bag.
Yeah,
Sack of potatoes.
No.
poor Castle.
Okay, so when am I
Such a good
making
guy.
it still, or did I make it and I'm applying it?
I'm gonna say unless anything else is happening in that time, you had time to make it. Are you doing anything? What is going on over there? Why she's doing this?
So I'm considering what direction to
Right, to
go
look for.
on the road. Because one way is bound to lead to a civilization of some kind, which is the only thing I could imagine would help Cry.
I think maybe should we make him what is that called?
A stretcher?
Yes.
That's what Odeon's been doing.
Okay. 'Cause I
He
have
rolls a natural
rope.
20 and makes the most beautiful stretcher he can fashion. Like, perfect
Wow.
amount of long leaves and just everything. He throws his own cloak over it, this nice cloak, but not his puwafui, just this nice cloak he was wearing before.
Oh,
and
we should
uses
take
it as
those
a
off, huh?
stretcher.
Yeah.
It's not quite done. It's not there yet, but definitely
Yeah.
I take mine off
Yeah.
it will affect it
and I
for
put
sure.
it in my bag
Okay.
after I've like replaced the things that aren't.
Okay. So you're smashing. So you have a poisoner's kit, which means you have
Yes,
the
I do.
ability to create potions and
That's right.
things like that. So you obviously would have had it cleaned, and it smashed it up and added some material
Yes.
to it. As you create it, you
And
are
when I
able
put
to.
it on, like I found I like whittle like a little like stick type thing like to like put it on because I'm not
Okay,
gonna
so you
touch
use your
it.
dagger and.
And even though I'm
nice
wearing
little-
my gloves, I still
So
want-
sort of applicator.
Yes.
Okay. Right, so you do so, and you see him noticeably stop writhing a little bit more. He's a little bit more conscious now
Okay.
from the settling, but he's running hot. He feels very, very
Can
hot.
I do like can I like check to see like maybe like check his pulse and like see like how much time
Through
he
gloves,
has?
you are still able to. It
Like-
won't be very definite, but you
like
can.
see if like like if he is like on like
Well, describe to me what you're wearing, so I can kind of get a figure of how your like gloves will be able to go through.
I imagine I'm wearing like a tunic, like a long, like probably like to mid thigh, and like leggings, and it'd probably be long sleeve. So it'd probably be really miserable in the desert. But she has leather gloves on that are like for archery.
Okay, so like
Like
a
with a
lot
bracer
thinner. Okay,
and
gotcha.
With
Okay.
a-
And
Is
you
that
have
the
the
right word?
straps.
Yeah.
I can't think of
Yeah,
it
bracers
right
go right
now.
here. That's
Okay,
correct.
I'm
Yeah.
like I'm having like a hard time with words today. And a cape. It's probably like a light like blue color and like midnight blue, like blues and
Okay.
stuff. I imagine.
Okay, perfect. I just need to get a picture. So,
And like really tall boots.
naturally, you gotta elves. You gotta have those.
But it's like
boots.
lightweight, like clothes. Okay.
No.
I like-
I like to know what they like to know what you look like too.
Okay. All right. Oh, and okay. While we're
While
at
you're
it,
at
'cause
it,
I don't think
I
I've
don't think you
described
ever
myself.
did. No, go
Okay,
ahead.
so I have long black hair, and it's like wavy hair, and I have very blue eyes, and that's why I wear blue because it like makes my eyes really pop, and I'm kind of vain a little bit, and that way. Fair
I think all
skin,
elves are. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think she kind of are Fae shorter or taller than elves?
I would say a little bit shorter, but you are half high elf, and they're
Yeah.
tall, so you're probably just average height.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was kind of thinking. I just want to make sure I had that right.
In my world.
So she's just average height, which is like weird for me. But yeah, so she's just very, and just very beautiful.
Yeah, and the way you with having a fae as
but
one
kind of
your,
like there's like a kind of like otherworldliness.
yes, and the way you
about-
move is a little bit
Yeah.
strange sometimes, a little bit quick in some areas, and
Yes.
you almost dance sometimes when you walk. Just like the natural, like it
Mhm.
looks like you are a practiced dancer, whether you have or haven't. You just look like it
Yes.
flows well. Okay, so you're able to feel on his neck just a portion of it that hasn't been affected. You do feel his pulse. It's very slow.
Okay. And he's very warm,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Is there like anything that I can do maybe to like see like if maybe we shouldn't move him, or like maybe someone should go get help
At this
instead?
point, at this point, after seeing what it did to Castle, you know that time isn't really on your side.
Yeah.
So whether it's going to kill him to move him, it will kill him to stay. That is something
Okay.
that you know.
All right.
Odeon follows up with that saying, "We don't have much time. I know this really is a good thing that we put this salve on him. I think that now that I've made this stretcher, we should, as Weirin said, get moving."
Okay. All right. Who are you injured?
Barely.
Is
Yeah.
Odeon injured?
Yes, but not too bad.
He's right
He
there.
got sliced by
Okay.
a scimitar, but
All right.
he's doing okay.
Well then,
I am gonna take a moment though while everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
And pray to Azrael.
Those that don't know, we have a baby. Occasionally it will make noises. And it might join us. She might join us. She's very much a she. Alright. So what are you saying to Azrael? Azrael is their deva, their
Yeah.
angel.
In essence, I'm gonna say, you know, this is your son dying here, and you've totally abandoned him. And as our patron, I feel like you owe Christ something.
Yeah. Okay, so I want you to roll a religion check to see how well that prayer goes through, essentially.
6.
There's so much anger built up with
Yeah.
that statement, and you know that it probably reached him,
Yeah.
but at this point you're not feeling any
But he's a
sort of
dick.
connection. Essentially, I mean, he isn't exactly ignoring you, but he's not coming at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he may come. You've prayed to him, which is your ability as an Asimar to be able to connect with your Deva, and he's supposed to be able to connect. So
Yeah.
sometime soon he will come to you from that prayer.
Alright.
That's how it works. Okay, so you find yourself as you get to that cobblestone, you all pick him up. Odeon carries one end, I imagine you carry the other. While
Yeah.
you said that you wanted to carry him, so
Uh-huh.
Odeon's head to the other end.
Uh-huh.
You load him onto it. He just kind of cries out in this pain, but you can't do anything about it. So you just move him, and you place him on it. You start picking him up, and then the decision. You're not sure if it's north or south, but judging where the sun is, it probably would be a north and south type road.
Okay. Yeah. Should we just pick a direction and go? I mean, there's not really
Yeah.
any good
Any
indicators.
good indication? I mean, I didn't do
Yeah, go ahead.
a survival, right?
Yeesh.
Did better than I did.
By the way, the reason why you hear fan sounds more than usual
17.
is because I forgot
Because it
to
was a
turn on that
15.
light.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I wonder how much that makes a difference. Probably not too much. But anyway, you rolled what?
A 17.
17. Okay. With that, you're able to see that most traffic on this road is heading in a southern direction.
Okay, we head that way.
Okay.
Okay, so you see.
And I think we should walk briskly. Because, like, I've given him that salve that will help with pain as much as we can.
Okay.
But, like, I think if we... like,
Right.
Even though...
No, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, and as we're walking, I want to look and see if there's, like, any fresh water. Because I know we're in, like, a marshy area, but there
Right.
might be some kind of fresh water.
A lot of
'cause-
stagnant. Yeah.
Yeah, because our water's not good.
Yes. Also, I'm going to need all of you to roll a level of exhaustion. So just roll a d20, and I want you to add your constitution to see what you get.
To the number?
Yeah.
4. Or
I rolled a 4
3.
too.
I got a 3.
But I plus 3, right? Is that what
Okay.
I add?
Yeah, you all take one level of exhaustion, which means you roll disadvantage on your bonus action checks, like any of these checks right now, until you're able to get some kind of rest.
Okay.
I rolled disadvantage. What does that mean?
Meaning you roll twice, you take the lower number.
Oh.
Yeah, exhaustion. You guys spent the night fighting,
Yeah.
and
But we
then
can't
just the
stop.
trauma of it all, and then
Yeah.
going through a portal, and now being in a swamp when it's hot and muggy already. So you don't have any fresh water. So it's good that you're looking for fresh water. Go ahead and roll for
Survival
perception
or perception?
in this case.
Okay.
I mean, you could do investigation, but it
17.
should be the same.
It's gonna be my number
Did you
of the
roll
night.
twice?
Oh,
Hey.
even better. Just kidding. 17.
Oh, okay, good. All right, so you actually are able to find that it
Plus
has
5 on
it
perception.
has rained
Nah,
recently,
you mess
and there
up.
are some big, like kind of like banana leaves, those really
Okay.
big leaves. They've kind of formed together. Some of them have fallen, and it's created this little area where you can get
And it's
maybe like 4 or 5 gulps of water.
And
like
it's clean?
It's probably the cleanest water around here.
Okay. All right. Well, I took a good gulp. Then,
Constitution saving throw. I'm just kidding. I kill everyone. This is
You
all-
gotta get
this is
dysentery
turned
and
into
and
an
then
die.
Oregon Trail.
I'm going to put it the rest in the water skin and then bring it over to them.
Okay.
And then after they've taken their gulps, I see if I can get Cry to drink some too as we're walking.
Good.
And I'm very fluid as I walk, so I can totally do this.
All right.
Right?
You're able to pull it off. It's you get it over to them and you hand it to Weirin.
Okay.
All right.
Good job. I'm saying
And
his name right.
I'm doing better. Okay, so where you're at, this whole location, you notice that you were on the inside of a ruin. Most of what you see around you is, it's not even a few steps before you notice that if you look around, the walls of this ruin that you're in is actually, it goes up quite a ways. It's dilapidated and goes up. It was no more than a few feet that you notice that you're inside of something.
Mm.
That's why it's so dark. It's actually probably a lot earlier, a little bit later in the day than where you're at, but just because of the sun. You notice that it looks like a dilapidated giant tower that you're in.
So it's like a circle.
Maybe a
kind of
castle,
wall.
something like that. It seems that you're in some kind of circle.
Okay.
You said there were ruins and stuff.
Yes.
How tall does the wall go if it was?
The more you look up, so you had like a canopy of trees that have formed around you. Maybe like 5 or 6 trees, nothing crazy, but enough to block out the light from the day. But once you kind of clear a little ways, you see that there's a brick like stone that's gone up quite a ways. Most of it on one side is completely gone, but it seems to be standing about this much of the tower is here, and it goes up quite a ways. Pieces falling off.
Unfortunately.
When you get closer to the wall, you notice that there are a lot of snake carvings, a lot of things that you've seen. So it seems that this is an ancient area. But the tower and stone itself does not look to be ancient. The stone looks cut at least within the last 100 years, but has been destroyed either due to some kind of war or some kind of just malfunction with the tower. But it's been enough time for a few trees to.
Weather and.
It could have been a lot of
terrain.
things.
It's built in a swamp.
It's a tower in a swamp.
Can Odeon translate any of the snake runes?
He just says it. He goes up to the wall and he sees that it seems that it was. It looks like slave labor. It's based off of what he knows of being pureblood Yanti himself. He's able to see that it's got a history to it, which basically states that they are owned. And he's not sure who they are, but it looks as if whoever was here was owned by the Yanti. Like they claim the society secretly. You're not sure what that means, but that's to like a deep level, but but that's what he said to you.
Okay. I guess there's no like staircase or anything.
There actually is a staircase. A lot of it doesn't look very safe, but it is a staircase.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all good. There is a definite staircase that goes up. It doesn't look terribly safe, but to those nimble on their feet, perhaps would be able to get up there quite easily.
And does it look like it's going all the way to the top of this thing, or?
It looks like it once did. It looks like it probably would go up about 70, 80 feet, and then at that point, maybe a boulder fell from the top and knocked down a good portion of it. She's good. She's falling asleep. All right. And while you're looking around at the castle or the whatever it is, the tower, you see that. Sorry, you don't see. You hear a few people talking in the distance, not too far away from you, but a little bit north of you. It seems as you get closer to this area, there's quite a bit. Sorry, you were going south. Okay, this actually, yeah, it still works. As you start going south, you see that the ground is actually not like dirt. A lot of like vines and stuff have grown up, but it was cobblestone. So this was in fact some form of castle or tower. You hear the speaking of people in a different language as they get closer.
I pull out my bow and I get an arrow ready just in case.
Just in case.
A little jumpy.
No, I wonder why. So you pull your bow out, you knock the arrow, and you get ready as a few people with like torches start like looking in. There's an elderly man with a cane that kind of is stepping in, and he says hello in common. This is very raspy. Hello.
I guess I'm gonna ask him. Who are you? And what are you doing here?
So you hear some voices like whispering to each other, just this, like this kind of like half coherent voices, and he says back, "Who are we? Who are you?"
I asked the question first, old man.
I don't mean any offense. It's just that this portal hasn't been used in quite some time, and you're not one of them, are you?
Define them.
And he turns back and confers with his followers, whoever they may be, and turns back and he says, "Oh, just ask them. One of the Yuan-Ti, are you our overlords?"
No.
And so he hears this woman's voice just kind of like echo, and it's like with this commanding voice, and he says, "It's all right, come out." And a few people with these like really shoddy workmanship bows, and just some of them have nice ones, but it looks like some people have been creating some things, but it made them a little nervous. They weren't sure what came out of the portal, but here you stand, and there they are. Looks like they don't look like native people, but they definitely have clothing that's a little bit worn.
I want to ask if they have any clerics.
I was going to do that too, so. Yeah.
And you see one woman right behind the man bow her head a little bit, and the man says, while shaking, and says, "Unfortunately, no, we've been they've taken all of our magic users."
Yuan-Ti?
Quite. They come every 10 years and take what they will and leave us the rest.
We don't have anybody that is adept in healing.
Well, we do have a natural healer. Perhaps is Sarah awake? And then he says to someone behind him, and she says, "Oh, she's probably up now." And he said, "Well, go get her quickly. It seems we have injured." And he sends her off, and she goes running. Seems like a younger girl, fiery red hair. She takes off in a sprint, and as you kind of feel like you approach, it's not like you feel like you need to stand back, and it would be rude to. You need a situation to guess, and they start approaching you as well. Some of them hold these like glowing lanterns, probably not fire, judging from the distance from, but it looks like some kind of luminescent. Bioluminescent thing. Yeah, something of that nature. So they step forward, and he says, "Garrett, Aaron." And so the two men that look probably in their late teens, but they are probably. I mean, you see a kind of a pattern here. There old women and younger men. Not really grown men in this group. There's probably about 15 of them that are coming to greet you. Greet or attack. Not sure the point. But they seem nice. And the men that approach, they kind of bow and they ask, and kind of not asking, but just kind of come forward and motion that they want to help carry. And they're just looking at you, waiting for some kind of an okay. They see you distraught, this pain and tiredness on all of your faces. You all look and have been beaten up pretty badly, whether by taking damage or just the whole experience of being where you were.
I'm going to refuse.
Okay. So how do you refuse? How does Weirin refuse?
Weirin just looks at them and says, "No, this is my responsibility."
So you kind of like growl this at them in this like fierce, like get back type of tone.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you say this to them, they respectfully step back and they look back at the elder, and he says,
I say, we mean no offense. We've just been through a horrific battle where someone we knew wasn't who we thought she was, and so we're a little untrusting right now.
And you saying this to the young men or the?
Yeah, I'm saying it to them.
Okay.
And then kind of out, and I said, and this is his brother, so you understand why we're in.
Quite. I apologize for our eagerness to help.
No,
it seems as if you had a hard time yourself. My name is Josiah Bentham. I am the appointed leader, but I wouldn't consider myself such. We have had hard times ourselves. If I might ask, where did you come from?
The desert somewhere.
Well, most of us end up in the desert.
We came from the shrine of Kuzbek, the immortal. That's his name, right? Kuzbek?
And you see his face grow pale, and then immediately light up with excitement as he kind of starts shaking. He says, "And Kuzbek?"
Is dead.
No longer immortal.
And as you say this, you hear this excited tone. Probably the first time that some of these people have smiled in years. Just these creased lines of frowns almost perpetually on their faces, almost like etched in stone. But they begin to smile, and some of them start laughing. And one of the boys that was near you just pats you like hard on the back, probably not meaning to as hard as he does. But he says, "True, if you're indeed dead, then there's hope." So he goes on to explain to you in detail as they take you down. They're not going to just let's stand here,
Right.
They start taking you down to this village, and as you see as they're walking, it's a very medieval, nice stonework, a lot of woodwork. It looks like it's overgrown quite a bit, but this used to be definitely a booming city at one point, lessened so. It looks like it was under attack at one point, and since then the gates have been broken. But overall, everything's intact. Streets are well maintained, and they start taking you in. It looks, judging the size of the city, probably about 5,000 to 10,000 people total that live in this. It's quite large. And you see behind you this looming tower. It looks black on the morning light.
This is where we were.
Where you were, yeah. It's behind you at this point. As you go further south, you go into the city, and you head through their north gates, and through this whole thing, he starts telling you that the Yuan-Ti have had one day just come out of nowhere, seemingly out of the portal. Kuzbek enslaved them thousands of years ago, but then they fought and freed from themselves, and then they were fine for like 700 to 800 years. Everything was okay, and then out of nowhere, the Yuan-Ti showed up in force, surrounded them, sieged them, and broke everything. And then they take slaves every 10 years, able-bodied men and women that they believe can benefit them. Magic is outlawed, and anyone that tries to start a rebellion in any sort, they kill their entire family, and anyone that's like even remotely related to the situation. So they've quelled them pretty badly to the point of where they don't try things anymore. But they just live in fear, waiting for them to pop through the portal or wherever they come from, to cart them back to Maneba or El Jadra or all these other cities in the south.
Where's that healer?
Yes. So I apologize. Yes. Right this way. So he takes you down this seeming alleyway. They uncover it with some brush. It looks like they attempted to hide this area, almost like it was overgrown. But it goes down to this little hut area in this nice it looks like a druid lives here. I mean, really, and you've seen druids before. They're not totally common, but they're once you see one, you've seen how they all act, where they like to live in a nature area. So it looks almost like this little sector that was to her. So you take Cry down to this area, and it goes downward. It slopes downward to this little hut.
Let's approach.
Okay, so as you enter into the hut and she ushers you in, you see she's middle-aged. She's got brown hair, like greenish eyes, and she ushers you in, and she doesn't smell bad, but it's like the smell of like she's worked a lot with herbs. So the hut is just this aromatic mess. Like you walk in and your eyes start stinging. It's just she's been busy at work. You probably less so as you've dealt with poisons and things like that nature. But you step into this hut, and it seems larger on the inside. She clears a table, and some of them move things out of the way, bottles clanking as they fall onto the floor haphazardly, and you place Cry upon the table, and it's, he's moaning at this point. He doesn't look good. Worst you've ever seen him. But the thing is about with the D&D world and any of these situations, fantasy, if you're hurting this bad, a nice healing can just bodies cure your body. Healing potions, if you think of it this way, we as humans or anything, we regenerate cells. It speeds it up exponentially. So like a healing thing, sort of thing, it just like takes instead of like 3 or 4 days, it's instant.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with this situation with the mummy rot, nothing like that can happen.
Right.
So he's in some pain that he can't get free from, really. So she says, "What happened to him?"
Kuzbek happened to him.
And you see her. She has these like spectacles that she's like moved to like inspect his like wounds. And he is he's just like flaky. It's just gross. It's like part of him where he got stabbed, like right here, which is pretty vital. This whole area, but it's rotting away. It's turning almost like ashen, like almost like he got burned. And she immediately says, "Of course, it's got to be mummy rot." And she says, "How long has he been like this?"
A few hours.
There may be time yet. She peels his eyelid back to kind of check a little bit. His eyes are bloodshot. He's just sunken in. He looks like a mess. And then she kind of feels the same type of thing, like a pulse. And the heat from his skin is almost hot to the touch to her. She stops and then looks at you and says, "He's
Oh no.
He's not long for this world. If we had a mage, if we had someone, and if these Yonti hadn't taken everything and everyone, my master could have healed him in a second, and it would have been right as rain by tomorrow. But it seems that this is the last few hours of his life." I rolled a 2. He is with mummy rot. The rule with that is that he has to roll to see how much, essentially, time he has. So he doesn't have any time.
Yeah.
Dang it. But anyway, back to the story. She looks saddened. She sees that your connection with him is affecting you deeply. She can tell by, even though he is scarred and clearly with some terrible disease, that you are definitely related. She sees that he's got white hair and you have black hair, but everything else looks very similar.
Uh-huh.
Wait, you have white hair?
No, black.
Oh, black hair, and he has white hair.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I realize I don't know what you look like.
Yeah.
I guess this is a good time for you to talk about what you look
Yeah,
like.
we're
Just
What
like
are you
really
What are you
quick.
wearing? And
Warren's,
I think it's good.
He's 6 foot. He's got long dark hair, pale skin. Muscular.
Yeah, Asimar are extremely handsome. Like they
Yeah.
just are. Like it's annoying. So like I think that it says that in the book that it's almost to the point where people are just like you're too good looking.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He's wearing leather armor. Fairly intricately carved, made stuff from the Yuan-Ti.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you guys have is from
Yeah.
when you were taking slaves. You have nothing.
Right. And I mean, other than that, it's just basically slave clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
didn't we get new clothes when we were in Mount Michelle?
Yeah.
It was priorities. Just things happen.
Just
Yeah.
travel. Yeah. Just travel clothes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, Odion asks her. He says, "So, if there's no healers and there's nothing, then we have to do something. We can't
Yeah.
just. He's suffering. We can't just let him just suffer until he desiccates to nothing like our friend." And she raises an eyebrow and says, "Friend?" And she's like, "I assume Kuspek killed a few of you."
Yes.
You would assume correctly.
It's like, but he is dead. I've heard it before you even got here that he is dead.
Yes, we burned his heart.
There's more
and
to
all his organs.
there's more to speak about after this, and I do have to congratulate you, but this is not the time. And she turns to Josiah and says, "We have one left. And I think now's the time." And Josiah turns to her and says, "Leola, we can't just..." And then she looks at him like this knowing look and says, "We have to." And you have no idea what they're talking about. It's like this inside conversation. But Josiah, he turns and reaches in this satchel that he has. He finds this vial. He takes it out, and it looks like there's this lone little, looks like this little bulb with various seeds on it. And he takes it out. Looks like he doesn't want to, but he takes it out, and then he hands it to her, and she says, "Each of you take one of these seeds." And so she actually hands you these little black seeds, and you're not sure what they're handing them to you for, but they give them to you, and they say, "This there's something that we can do for him that would make him part of the land and forever remembered by our people for killing Kuspek, for being part of that." A ritual, if you will. It's completely harmless. Perhaps it will ease his suffering, and I'm not sure what more it could do. We've had these seeds for quite a long time. We were saving them for. We weren't sure what we were saving them for. They were a gift, but we could do something for him, some kind of funeral, as it were. And at this moment, Cry actually wakes up for the first time in a while, and he's frantic, just looking around. He just keeps blinking a lot, and just keeps. The more he turns and moves, he realizes the kind of pain he's in, so he stops moving altogether, and just these heavy breaths as he's just like this like raspy breathing, because he has been stabbed and it hasn't been able to heal.
I guess with him being conscious, I tell him like, this is it. I mean, we're done here, and there's something.
And you hear him like raspy, kind of like you have to get close, like about this close to him, and he says to you, he's like, "Azrael." He just says Azrael's name. He's just like questioning. Because in the past you have fought demons, you fought things, and you've been guided your whole life by Azrael. So he's just like asking you, have you invoked?
And I tell him I called him, and I have not heard back from him.
And you see him just like a single tear go down the side of his cheek, and he's confused and like dying. You know, he's in a lot of pain. But you see Josiah's face, just like this twisted, just like sad look on it, and he says, "We probably don't have much time. We should take him back to the tower."
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so news has spread throughout the city that, I mean, it doesn't take much of good news to spread, almost as fast as bad news, and almost like a flame. Everyone in the city at this point is starting to hear about it. So people aren't crowding so much as there's guards, town guards, that they just look like boys with spears, real spears. They're not like sticks. They look like they're wearing armor, like their dad's armor. And they're kind of keeping people back, not like pushing them back, but just like saying, you know, give them some space. And as you're carrying them, carrying Cry out, people are you hear it like smattering of people talking about what you had done, that you killed Kuzbek, and that, you know, that he has mummy rot and that he's going to die, and that, but more so you keep hearing them that say like, is it time? And a lot of people keep asking that question. As you get closer to the tower, back again, you see that people are already laying out these like flowers, just anything they could find along the way in the swamp. Just some people are laying out like nice clothing, anything that they have that is nice. They're just laying it out on like a path going up to the tower. You get to the tower and you notice that it's kind of on a little bit of a hill. It looks like it had been built up to hold that big of a structure. And as you get to the front, I guess what was the entrance, it's there's quite a bit of candles lit and people preparing for some kind of ceremony. They're fast working. Immediately when they heard what was going on, the town went to, just like anybody nearby, just like, bring your stuff, let's go. So what are you all doing in these moments? Like, what are you noticing? What are you trying to see?
I'm thinking about castle.
Right.
Is this a one body ceremony?
Absolutely not. This is for both heroes. Castle being
That's what I'm wondering.
dead and gone, but still there. Odeon has brought him out at one point, and they've wrapped him, not to show what has happened to him, because it's almost like a disrespect to see him this way.
Sorry.
It's just as sad as it is.
She wants to be up and looking around.
Yeah, she's good. She can join us. This is our daughter.
I'm not apologizing to you. I'm apologizing to her because I keep putting her down and it makes her mad.
Right.
She keeps watching you.
It's okay. Our firstborn, he enjoyed watching us. So the
He
funeral
had a
procession,
character too.
it's bringing on this whole, like, I'm actually going to pull something up real fast. So this music, so it has to be stated that it was by Kevin MacLeod, and other than that, we're free to use it. So, yay! You hear people playing music. Yeah, you hear people playing music, and hold on, I gotta turn off my face. I'm talking over here. Back to it. You see a lot of people gathered and saddened by what they've heard. That they don't even know you, but you just see people excited and sad at the same time that you'd done something, and you may not know the impact of killing Kuzbek was on the world, but the whole of this city is feeling this intense gratitude towards you, and you just see it on their faces. Some of them even just saying thank you in their own ways, bowing to you. Occasionally someone coming up and like touching Cry, even though they know what he has, just like and you, and just as you're walking by, just hands just like touching you guys' like shoulders and arms, just like in this this somber, like, thank you so much for what you've done, and you're sorry for your loss. You see that there's Josiah, who is kind of leading the procession. Cry is being moved to this. What's interesting, even though there's no magic users, Leola comes up and she starts moving her hands and kind of whispering, and the earth begins to create these like form of like vine beds. They look soft, and they little flowers are blooming from the sides of them, and they're placed down. You guys place them down on two separate beds. Cry is still alive. It's kind of this. He knows it's it, but he doesn't know when. You see like fear, but for the first time since he's woken up, the heavy breathing has stopped. He's slowed down quite a bit. He looks very like accepting of what's happening. There's no stopping it. And so as this is happening, you see there's Josiah is actually using with Leola some kind of druid craft. It is magic based, but it's probably been hidden pretty well. They're kind of showing themselves out, and they shouldn't be doing this because there could very well be spies. Probably are. They believe it to be so. You see them glancing around, but eventually just like accepting if something happens, something happens. This is a great day and a sad day. So the seeds that you have, he says to come forward, and you all stand around Cry, since he is currently the only one that is living, and he begins to speak, and it's in Druidic at first, which is an actual language. You see it's this like, the look on his face is very just like focused, like he's saying some kind of prayer, but then he says that he says, I have a gift in common, finally. And he says, what happens in the future cannot be known, but the ripples of what you've done will echo in at least our city and the people that are enslaved by the Yanti, either in secret or as we are in wide open. He's like, with these seeds, we will be able to give Cry to not just protect as he did, from what I can tell from what you've done. He immediately notices that you're a priest, a war priest of Zast, based off of the way you carry yourself. You're very interesting fighters. In D&D, you guys are essentially like uber heroes because no one common can do what you guys have done. But they notice what you are, and they speak to you openly about your past. But he tries to create this sort of bonding with you and let you know that everything's going to be okay. But then he says, if you have any last things that you'd like to say to Castle and Cry, as he points to them respectively, and he says, now would be the time.
Weirin approaches Cry, and he basically says, "You're my other half. You kept me stable. You were the light to my darkness, and I don't think that I will be able to continue sane when you're gone."
And so when you do this,
Farewell, brother.
he looks up at you and says, brother. That's all he manages to get out. You place the seed on his chest as instructed, and just leave it there and step back. Does anyone else approach? Like, did you want to say anything?
I kind of feel like I shouldn't because I don't even know him,
Yeah.
but I do, I guess, go up and I just say, you were a valiant fighter, and I am honored to know you.
Okay, and with that, you give this kind of like elvish goodbye, which is more of like a symbol, and he kind of just nods to you the best he can. And the next thing that you see is Odion come forward, and he performs something that you've seen before throughout your time. You've seen a lot of funerals, people passing. He does the sending of Varun, which is the god of death, and he used to be a priest of death. He starts repeating the words, and it's just it's coming out flat, just like he's trying to do the best he can. He says, and you've heard it hundreds of times, you could probably recite it yourself. He says, "In darkness reflected, the eyes close, our hands are bare from one you chose. Take to thee, O Lord of death, this soul you claim with their last breath." And you know there's more to it, but he just stops. And then he, mid-ceremony, you see this like sadness on his face, and he finally raises his head. You see his eyes are wet, which is weird because Odion's super collect. You know, he just doesn't. Nothing affects him. He is pure blood. He's from the Yanti himself, so they're made to not feel, and to be extremely, I guess, apathetic. They don't care. You know, death is something they enjoy because it gets them further ahead. But he says, "Cry, I'm so sorry. This is not what you deserve." Cry at this point can't speak. He gives him a knowing look as best as he can, but it's as if to say, "I understand." And then he finishes it, and he looks at him and says, "May the forest serve and obey that which created you." And then he touches his, like, an amulet. He's had it the whole time, but he doesn't like bring it out much. He just touches it. And it's this like 3-stoned amulet. He touches it, and then he says, and pauses and says, "Go now and walk with the plains in the plains of white, and await us. We'll be there soon. We'll send some more souls first." And he says, "Azrael, give them peace." And you don't feel like there's a moment you've known Odion to be so like precise in his speaking, but it was very real from what you saw. Everyone has placed their seed on his chest, and then they give him this adamantium mace, and they put it across his chest, and he just, like, it hurts, but he just holds it. It's the only thing he really had. I mean, he's a monk, but he used the mace occasionally. It's quite priceless, but at this point, who cares? As you are, he comes up to you, to Josiah. He says, "We need to leave right now," and not like we need to go, but at the same time he's like, "This is something we need to get going."
But
right
what about
now.
Castle? What if we don't have Castle?
It's the same thing. There's been priests overseeing him and saying things. They don't know him, but they've been giving him a farewell as well. But
I mean, shouldn't we have done something?
you can absolutely say something to Castle. Absolutely. The only reason you're standing around him is because he's currently dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like help him through it, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Waren's too distraught. He's not going to bother.
Right.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah.
And Odion just walks over to him and does some sign, which is like some sign of respect to him, kind of saying the same thing. "See you soon." And then he walks off, following Josiah.
And I do, my elven goodbye with the same, pretty much what I've done with Kai,
Okay.
and follow Odion. But
Perfect.
Are you still there, or did you leave? too?
No, I'm leaving, but you know,
Lingering.
in my mind, I'm going Azrael. It's now or never.
Right.
um,
You don't hear anything. Which, what do you feel?
right, it's abandonment.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Cut off a bit. And as you step out of this tower, you just see him, like your last seeing of him is just him just lying there, looking like he's already dead. No movement of the chest anymore, but as you exit the side of him, you start heading down the hill a ways, you feel the ground begin to shake. It's as if there's some kind of earthquake. You're actually worried that the tower is going to collapse at the feeling of it. The sky begins to twist around as the clouds begin to move. Rain begins to patter on the ground. Everything is kind of just like shaking. But in this moment of like amazement, vines begin to creep out of the ground, circling the tower. It starts to form this massive tree, and it completely engulfs the tower. It's rather quickly, within minutes, it happens. You know that he's in there and probably dead at this point.
Hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too. But he's become part of the tree. The whole tree forms. All these different like buds start to bloom on the branches, and it becomes this very alive, very large tree, biggest one that you see for miles. Like it's huge, as big as the tower was, and everyone in the city begins to do this like bow / like hand movement to say goodbye. But it's also this look of awe, like they've been waiting for this moment. And that is the end of Cry and Castle. Well, Castle was already dead, unfortunately. But as this moment passes, you're standing there looking at this massive tree, and Odeon comes to Josiah, who's standing right next to you, and says, "What did exactly that do?" You know,
You didn't even ask.
right.
Just kind of
Yeah, it just started happening. They said, "There's no time." You rolled it. It was a 2.
Yeah.
He had no time left. If it was longer, it would have been different. These dice aren't fair. Actually, they're totally fair. But they're
not nice.
They're not nice. No.
Not forgiving.
And Josiah turns, and Leona as well, and she comes up and reads the room a bit with you.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to put her hand on you and just kind of puts it away, seeing this like your necrotic shroud is essentially showing.
Yeah.
You're feeling this like anger, this like righteous anger, but like also you're the yin to the yang, like to him, almost literally, because he had the goodness infused with him, and you had the darkness, which was necessary to defeat evil. But now it's just you, and you're kind of without that light at the moment. You don't even hear really anyone around you. In fact, I'm going to need you to roll a d20 for me. Alright, what did you get?
9.
Alright. I'm sorry, I apologize. I need you to roll a d10 and a d100. It's a percentage die we're doing.
10 and 100, so 17.
17. Okay. You start to have vivid hallucinations and disadvantage on your ability checks, and I need you to roll one more at the same percentage.
Percentage?
Yeah.
15.
15. Okay. You immediately ask, almost like you don't even have a choice, for a drink. Something heavy, something hard. That is your permanent, that's a permanent thing you have now. You have, your literal thing is now in one of your, one of these things, personality traits. Being drunk helps keep you sane.
Okay.
Oh no.
Until cured. Which means you'd have to see someone really, really good with magic. What you experience as a long-term madness is 1d10 days times 10. So you'll have vivid hallucinations and a bit standoffish until that ends. Okay. And I'm going to roll that right now to see where we're at. Oh, okay, well.
70 days?
Yeah, you're going to have hallucinations for a long time. I'm not going to have you roll disadvantage, but maybe for a week I'm going to have you do some disadvantage on your abilities. Not like attack rolls, but just like you're too distraught
stuff,
from this. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's your twin. You know, you're 30 something years old. You're like 34, I think now, and you just lost your twin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this just because that's cool. She said, "Me imagining this in my head, it sounded like the most respectful and beautiful funeral service ever." Well, that's the best they could do with where they were at. Roll the dice with them. They could have ended up anywhere. Luckily, it was civilization of some sort.
Something.
I had 20 different locations, believe it or not. Okay, back to what we're doing. You see him just stomp off, looking for a drink. Unfortunately, that is your thing now.
Do I think I found a drink?
That's a good question. You're gonna be gone for a while. Odion says, he's like, I should follow him, but no man should be pestered at this moment. And so he turns to Josiah again and says, I would like an answer. And he says, well, what we've done is a symbol to us just as much as it is to him. We've been waiting to use these seeds. They're ancient seeds. They've been given from druid to druid in our town, in our city, for thousands of years. There's been a few planted but chopped down over time. Great victories, they symbolize that. But also, more than that, these trees become protectors of our city. And we've not used one because we've not felt like we could ever be protected, even by the great spirits of the forest. He said, but with this, Cry will live on as a protector still, to not just this city, but the entirety of where this forest stretches, which is actually all of the Grimmire Peaks up towards Zast, which is, so he is part of the forest now. So anytime you're in this forest, you have some kind of connection to him.
So do we know where we are?
No, you actually don't.
Okay, so I asked Josiah, I say, where are we exactly? Like, what is this town called?
Well, most people know it as the Black Spire, but this is actually Adels Rhoda. I'll spell that for you later. He said it's just an ancient city. We used to be a port. If you head that way for quite a little bit, you'll be able to reach old port, but it was since burned down. All of our ships sunk. There is no escape for us, but the tides may be turning, and everyone around him starts nodding their heads. Odion asks, so how long has it been since the Yonti have come to collect? He says, they're due. That's why we expected the Yonti to be coming. He says, they're not due as in, like, they don't have a time frame that they show up, but it's been 9.5 years, so it could be a month, it could be tomorrow. With that, he says, but enough talk of that, and we'll speak more of this later, but I think you all need a good ale and a good rest, judging by what you've been through. And he kind of points in his direction. He points in his direction that she's got like spit.
She's blowing bubbles at me. She's turning red.
Oh, she's smiling now.
Oh, good.
Oh, kind of.
Oh.
She's angry. She's mad about the turnout. But yeah, and so you're off. Mm-hmm. You do see a tavern.
Okay, I'm going there.
Okay, so how do you go in? Describe how you are entering.
I mean, head down, just push the door open, not even really looking, just walking straight in.
As you do, you kind of push over a patron. They get all gruff for a second, but then they see you and they know who you are immediately. They back off. Yeah. It seemed like he started to curse you, but then immediately was like, I'm sorry. The barkeep is already pouring this very large mug for you. It's not like a strong ale. You can see already. It's just ale. It gets you by.
Okay. I'm gonna put gold down, and
that'll buy you a lot.
Say yeah, and just say stronger.
Right.
Stronger.
And he says, we don't have much, but I do have something. And so he reaches under the table and he dusts off this like very like amber liquid bottle. It's a very nice bottle. It looks like it was imported long ago. And he takes off the cork. First time that he's done so. He looks at it longingly and then just hands it to you. And he says, he just pushes the gold back to you and he says, no payment needed. Room's upstairs when you need it.
I'm gonna take the bottle and go up.
You're just gone. Okay.
Yep.
You find the room, and that's where you're at. Okay. Poor
Okay.
Weirin.
Do you have like a world map so I can kind of see where we are?
Yeesh. I need this. Okay, so what are you doing in the meantime? What are you asking for?
Well, I want to see how close we are to the city, the Yanti's like city, because that's my ultimate goal.
Well, we're pretty far away from that.
And so
Aren't we?
I
Different island?
You're
want
not
to
that
get
far.
I want to get there. So
Alright, so where you ended up is the Black Tower right here.
okay.
It's in like it slopes up. There's supposed to be more mountains right there.
Okay, where
block
were
it
we?
off.
Okay.
You
That was
were
around time.
you were right beneath in these mountain areas,
And then
like
now
right.
we're
It was like
here.
a dune right before Maneba.
Okay, and where's the city that we're trying to get to?
You're trying to go to either Maneba or El Jadra. You're not sure where your father is, but you know he's in one of these cities.
Oh wow, so we're not that far.
No,
Okay.
you like I said, if you were able to get a boat or travel along the coast, you'd get there in a few days.
Okay. So I.
A hard ride, a few days. It would take like a week if you were just traveling.
So I asked Josiah. I say, okay, so you say in the port, all your ships have been burned down.
That is to say, they think they're all burned down, and we're not allowed to. Some of our more disobedient families that honestly seem to not care of the wrath, they do have some slim vessels that they are able to smuggle in some goods on occasion.
We need one of those.
Without question, I will demand that they give it to you forthwith.
And then now I think we should go to bed.
Odeon agrees. He says, "I don't sleep, but I think tonight I will." And
So I head off in the same direction that he went because I'm assuming that he found.
he probably did.
Okay, so is Odeon walking with me, or did he go off by himself?
Odeon goes with you.
Okay.
He
So
doesn't
as
have
we're
anyone else.
walking through, what's the town like? Like you said it's pretty. It's not like ruined. It's like it's just overgrown.
I have a kind of picture that I wanted to use to show you. I'll post it on my. Hi, baby girl. He's talking to me and smiling.
You love your daddy.
It kind of looks like this.
Oh.
A little bit more swampy than this picture, but kind of
Okay.
like this.
Okay.
That's just
Oh,
like
what's
it's
time
it's
of-
very stacked,
What's the
but
time of the day right now?
probably around 10.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're tired. I think I also want a bath.
Right. So take care of that when you get to the end.
Okay, but I think I would probably want some maybe new clothes.
Okay.
So is there like a tailor shop or anything? Like it does feel kind of, but I didn't really know them, and so
No.
I'm not feeling.
You got to take care of your needs. You never
very-
know when you're going to get this chance again.
And so I want to purchase clothes for myself. For
I mean, the last
Odeon
city
and
you were
for
in was a
Karen.
dwarven city, and it's mostly dwarven-made
Yes.
things. So,
I want to find clothes for the three of us because I noticed that they're still wearing like their slave stuff, and this is how I feel like I can do something.
right. No. It's not selfish at all. Odeon says, "I'll accompany you. I'm wretched with a need of new clothing."
Are you eating with me?
And so you find your way to. Oh, she's just talking.
He wants to play too.
Oh, so cute. She's got a lot to say.
It's chatterbox.
Anyway, so
Aw.
you get taken, led by one of the younger men that was trying to help originally. He seems like he's kind of your guard in the city, a steward, so to speak, and he leads you to the
Oh, I'm
to the
sorry.
marketplace.
Do you want to talk still?
He says there's probably a few shops open.
No. But it's 10 in the morning. Shouldn't there be shops open?
It's different today. I mean, they just came back from a very insane moment. The town is bustling with just. Can you see that tree? Can you imagine? I mean, it's just everybody.
Oh, okay.
And they see you walk by, and they revere you almost as if you were gods. All right, so you get taken to the marketplace, and you do see quite a few people just watching you. No one's really shopping; they're all just like waiting on you. There's not really anyone there yet, except the people that own the stalls. But you do find a clothing store. It doesn't take you long. A few people point it out and say, yes, they've probably got the best that we have.
Okay.
Mind you, they've had to smuggle in most of their goods.
Well, we have quite a bit of money.
You do. You
So
have a lot. You haven't even counted it all.
Well, we have a lot of treasure, but I mean, I have a lot of money that's not even
Not group money.
part of that. Yeah. So.
You are all very wealthy. I'll just say that.
All right.
You found 700 platinum coins in one of the chests.
Yeah.
That's 10 gold times 700, so 7,000 gold roughly.
Awesome. Okay. So, what kind of things are in this store?
As you walk in, you see probably the one that catches your eye the most, since you kind of like blue. It's kind of this bluish green. It's got more blue, but you see there's like green inlaid with some gold. It looks very nice. It's like a how do I describe it? It is like a tunic, but it's a little bit. It's like a quilted doublet. But it's made for a woman. It's got the shape of a woman, so
perfect.
it stands out and it looks beautiful.
You need girl clothes.
And it looks like a young girl, probably of like 13, is the one who runs the store.
Okay.
She's human. She's freckle faced. She's rather cute, really mousy looking, but she just says, "What can I do for you?"
And I say, "Hello, I am Alara, and you are." I'm remembering to introduce myself.
You there, shopkeep. Get me what I want now.
That's how I was in the Dwarven City, but I was really like
It's different.
kind of racist.
Oh.
with
She
the
says-
dwarves.
She's like, "My name is Deary. D-Y-R-I.
Well, it is a
diary.
pleasure to
Hello,
meet you,
dearie.
dearie.
Deary."
Dearie.
She's like, it might have been just a name that I heard people calling me when I was young, and then my parents were taken, so I just stuck with it.
That's a lot of information.
She is a child.
Do you run this store by yourself? The shop by yourself?
Yeah, quite a bit, yes.
Where do you get your where do you get your products?
Family friend.
Oh, all right, wonderful. But can you tell me about this? And I hold up the doublet that you talked about.
You see her conflicted at this moment. She's clearly like, I want to give it for free, but I can't because I need money. This look in her eye, and she just kind of looks over at her table and looks over at you, and then she just says,
Can I
normally that would run you. It is also smuggled, I want to say 2 gold.
I put 5 down.
And you see her eyes just light up, but then immediately turned away. She says, "No, you can't possibly give me that much. That's. I mean, I didn't even
And I
pay
say,
nearly."
I wave her away, and I just wave her off, and I say, I'm not done. So.
And you see her just smile and perk up.
So I want, a fresh change of clothes so that like I can, wash the clothes that I'm wearing. And then I'm also looking for clothes for wearing.
She says, "I can have those laundered for you and sent to your tavern or your inn."
That would be lovely, thank you. And so I'm looking for clothes for him, and Odeon, I assume, is picking out his own clothes.
Oh yes. He will do that on his own time.
Oh, isn't he with me?
He is with you.
Oh,
But I'm just gonna say he did it while he was there,
alright, that's fine. We
just
don't
to
need
save on some time.
That's fine.
I love roleplay, but there's a certain
You
point
like
where I
that
have
wind
to.
right now?
All right.
Is that nice?
That's the Pantheon. I don't want to mess with that. All right. So right now you're at 5 gold. All right.
I have 80.
No, I'm saying you're at.
Oh, okay.
With your
I
bill.
was like,
Why
I'm
do you
good.
even count?
I'm keeping track. Depending on what you buy, they're all different.
And we have
prices.
7,000.
I don't think there's change for platinum here. I'll take this. They just see this platinum coin. They're just like,
What do we do with this?
yeah, it's like having 100 at like a Taco Bell.
Yes,
They're just like, why?
I'd like to buy that city block over there.
Essentially.
Okay, So what kind of like my armor's fine. I'm just looking for clothes. So there's a doublet. What kind of like other like women's clothes? Are
Right.
there?
So they have. She has some nice like fresh white shirts. They go down to here. They've got the little string going back and forth. I wish I knew the names of these things, but you know, medieval clothing, pretty much of any make. Not a huge variety of each kind, but she's got.
So I pick the one that looks like the nicest,
Okay.
and I take that, and
She says that will run you 2,
okay, all right,
because it is their nicest.
and then
And you do see it's actually very, very well made. Probably surprising to be in this kind of area. It's just you see it's going to breathe well and feel good on your skin.
okay. Now what? And then I grab a pair of like leggings.
Yeah. So medieval, that would be kind of like a hose type thing,
Well,
but just thicker.
yes,
But yeah,
same.
essentially.
It's the same stuff. It's just a different word.
Right. What she has is like a brown, like a dark brown.
Does it match?
Yes.
Okay. As long as it looks
It
good.
looks. It's kind of no. You know, it's not dark brown. It's more of like a tannish.
Okay,
like,
and it's good quality.
it is very
Okay,
good
all right.
quality. And that would be 5 silver.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else?
I'm good. So now what are the...
So I
the
need you
men's
to
clothes?
subtract 5, 6, 7.
I'll do that when I'm done.
Okay, I'll do that. You can put gold next to that, just so I don't forget. Okay. All right, and he buys various items, like a nice shirt, and it's like black, and it's got like a little vest and everything. It looks great. Anyway, he buys it, and he pays like double for it as well. And you just see her just like beside herself, and just like, what is happening right now? Probably won't know what to do with the money, but she looks like she's pretty shrewd and understands. But genuinely, she's overjoyed.
All right. So for him, I just pick out something
For
that's...
for him?
Yes,
Okay.
because I'm assuming that he's not going to come in.
Oh, yeah, it
doesn't
says
care.
a gentleman always wears black, especially in mourning.
And so that's what I was going with. Thank you. So I, pick up. Is there black in there?
Yes, there's actually like it almost like this inlaid paisley look, but it's like really subtle. It's not like over the top.
You can find me like a Matrix waistcoat
Yeah.
or trench coat.
He actually does purchase him a cloak. It's this really fine black cloak. It doesn't have any. It has some extra pockets in it.
Pretty cool.
And she's just like,
smiling at you.
hey, a few viewers in this beautiful girl watching me. It's all good. Anyway, so yeah, so you get a few things, just mostly black things, just like black leather gloves. It's almost like a smattering of things. He'll just pick what he wants and toss the rest. We're not sure. Donate it.
So I just tell Odeon to pick something out for him because I'm like, I don't know.
Just buy some blackwear and size stuff.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
And it looks all very cool, very nicely made. He even buys like this little like thing right here. He turns.
And what's the point of the thing right there?
It's like a little not like a sash, but it's like this leather pouch thing. It can like hold various items like in a quick pinch.
Okay.
You could. He just say, do you know anyone that does any leather work around here that could help us out with storing some things in maybe a bracer or in a boot discreetly, and because he had spoken to you previously about this.
Oh yes, thank you for reminding me.
You asked me to remind you.
But I think right now we're actually okay
Okay.
because
He sends the order out anyway, so
Okay.
next time.
Because I'm looking for, I'm going to have some daggers made and hide them in like boots and like stuff like that. 'Cause
I'm
I
gonna
want to
say
have
in
more
the
weapons.
time you did do that, I will figure out the money and how it works in the downtime just to save. They're all very nice NPCs that are all real, and I might use them again later. All right. You are drinking. How drunk are you? How much of the bottle have you consumed?
I'd say at least a third.
Okay. Well, you were good and sloshed at this point because that is old.
And we are heading
But-
to the inn. Or the
You
place.
feel more clarity than you would. Less pain,
Without?
and you feel, ironically, more alert. No, you feel tired, but you feel like your normal self. for the first time. And you notice this effect, and you know that at this point, from this point forward, at least until you get some kind of closure of some sort, whether it be just some role-playing aspect or like someone actually literally heals you, you feel like this is going to be an effect that's going to be with you. So you're like, I'm going to need to have alcohol in a bag of holding or something that I can just drink when I need it. That is a thing you do. So you're third of the way through. They come through the door. Question, did you want a different room?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It is with these, any city in this world, just to let you know, history, women typically are not allowed to be in the company of men that are not like an escort, or when it comes to like staying in the same room if you're not engaged or family, it looks weird to most people. They're very, this world is very like prudish medieval, so that's just the way they are. I like.
I know, and I shocked everybody at the dwarf place.
I know, and I loved it. I encourage that behavior.
But no, I want my own room.
But just so you know how it works with people. All right.
Gotcha.
You get your own room.
I don't know what this is about. Are you hanging out with Henry too much?
He's been doing that.
He's been doing that
So
a lot lately.
So they give you a room. They have food sent up to both of you. They, of course, have a little note that says no charge, of course. But anything you need at all, we have someone up all night long, ready to, and all day. If you wish to stay here as long as you wish, you can be here. It is daytime. It's probably around like 2 o'clock at this point. Sun's a little bit past the midday point. The swamp doesn't stink so bad as you might think. It seems like they seem to keep everything back, like the worst of the muck of the swamp. It's nice and clean in this area. It's very rocky. They built this place in a nice area.
So I sleep. What's a full rest for me?
I think it was like half of everyone else,
Like
so probably
4
like
hours?
4 hours.
Okay, so I sleep 4 hours and then I'm gonna explore. But I think we actually need to end because
Yes, we do, because he has to get up in the morning. Normally we don't do it on
Life
Tuesday.
goes on.
Saturday we will not be playing. He's going to be out of town.
Yep.
We are going to try to resume the following Saturday. If not, we'll let you know if there's a day in between. We do want to get like once a week, whether we have to just jump in somewhere, even if it's for a couple hours, just like tonight. Yeah, so that's where we're ending tonight. All of us getting a good rest, and we'll deal with what happens in the future. Remind me, everybody, even in chat, next time we're starting with Weiren's Dream, and that is where we're going
we
to
should write a note
write a note right now.
with the date and everything.
Yes.
Highlight it, bold it, underline it.
Weiren's Dream. All right. With 3 exclamation points.
Interesting. All right.
Anyway, thank you for joining this very somber, saddest one that we've
And I
had.
went shopping.
And then she went shopping. You know what? You gotta end it light.
That's
gotta
how
end
you
it
get
light.
over the depression.
Yeah, this is the way she gets
You go
through
shopping.
it. She's a
Coping
she's
mechanism.
a shopper.
Oh, did I get a bath?
Yes,
wanted
of course.
one.
It was sent
Okay.
up to your room, a nice
Okay.
hot bath.
All right. Just want to make sure
And
because
by
I
the
did
time
ask
it-
for that.
By the time I got to your room, it wasn't so hot, but it was enough to make you feel like you're actually clean for the first time. Italicized. Oh, I got it. I've got this. Here we go. Done. Done. All right. Thank you. That's how you know it's really important. Thank you for those that commented. I read them throughout. I really appreciate the comments. Those that are watching this afterwards, comment below. Hashtag death. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. It's terrible. I tell you what,
It's not a
though.
very good hashtag
I don't
at
do
all.
hashtags either. I
Hashtag cries funeral.
yeah, because that's gonna be a thing like 10 years from now when people like watch this in droves.
Totally. Yeah.
Remember when they started?
When they did hashtags.
Bath bombs and all. You got like
Bath bombs.
yeah, you got like it was like the ultimate treatment.
Yes.
It's the Leola sent up some like flowers in the bath. It was like really like
Oh,
nice
yeah.
and luxurious with candles. You fell asleep in the bath. It was that nice.
Oh.
Crying for
wouldn't
cry.
that be great?
Oh, that's a good hashtag. Anyway, we appreciate you very much. Any updates will be going on the Instagram and all that fun stuff. And we appreciate you all. So may your rolls always be natural ones, but just not natural ones. I will see you all, and we will see you all shortly. I will have some videos coming up. My internet's been nuts, so I haven't really had much luck uploading anything else.
We've had a lot of things be nuts in the house. So.
Yes. Our AC. Oh. See you all next time.
Totes